views and opinions expressed do not necessarily reflect those of Access Fort Wayne, the Allen County Public Library, or any other supporting groups. If you'd like to produce a show, call us at 260-421-1250.
Welcome to American Veteran. I'm Dale Parrish, your host, and my co-host today is Carl Fowler, filling in for Bud Mendenhall. Welcome to the show, Carl.
Well, thank you very much. I'm a member of the Korean War Veterans Association, and we're looking for a few good members. We hold our meetings the second Saturday of each month at 10 o'clock a.m. at the VFW Post 857 on the hill at the end of West Main Street. If you served in the military anywhere during the Korean War or in Korea, anytime after the war, you are eligible for our organization. So come on out and join us. The camaraderie and the socializing we do with other veterans and the spouses and friends are welcome. Lunch is available after each of our meetings. We participate in parades, have a memorial service at the Korean War Memorial on O'Day Road. We have Thanksgiving and picnics with the Korean community. We have a program in our organization called Tell America, where we visit schools and tell of our experiences during the war, plus many more activities. For more information, email us AmericanVeteran@frontier.com. Thank you.
Thank you, Carl. Our guests today are two Marines. Hank Firnhaver is a Korean War veteran, and Don Scherer is a Vietnam veteran, both Marines. This program, we'll be talking mainly with Hank. Hank, when did you join the Marines?
In June 1951, although my involvement in the Marine Corps goes back to when I was about 5 or 6 years old. I would put it in the late 30s. One day when I was out with the family, my father says, "Oh, look at the Marine." I had no idea what it was, but he was in his dress blues. And I figured, man, that looks great.
They are impressive looking when they
Yes.
get those uniforms on.
And a few years later then, when the Japanese attacked Pearl Harbor, we were in World War II. So I grew up through the whole World War II. And then in 1950, the Korean War started. And I was still in high school. And it just got to the point, I had always wanted to be a Marine, that in April of '51, I enlisted. But the high school principal would not credit me for that year. So I postponed it. And as soon as school ended, I went to Parris Island. And I spent June, July, and August in Parris Island. The M1 is the first high-powered weapon I ever fired. I qualified expert with that. When boot camp was over, they gave me an MOS of aviation. That was disappointed. I wanted to be a mud Marine. But I ended up at Jacksonville Naval Air Station and going to school for 3 months. And then I picked aviation machinist mate school, Memphis, Tennessee. And that's when I went through to be a aircraft mechanic. Finished in May of 1952. and got my assignment to Korea. They shipped me to El Toro, California, where I got ready, and in June of '52, we boarded a ship down San Diego, and took 7 days over to Yokohama.
7?
Yes.
That's a pretty fast trip.
Yes, it was. We must have took the slow boat.
Probably.
It took us 2 weeks.
You had a fast Navy ship.
Yeah. It was an old World War II Liberty ship,
Is that right?
the MC Meigs. And we disembarked in Yokohama, Japan. From there, they took the ground troops, separated those from the air wing troops, and we took a train over to Atami, Japan, and then they flew us into Korea. I was flown into Seoul City Airport, where I joined helicopter squadron, HMR 161. This was the first large helicopter squadron ever in combat. The Marines had 2 copter squadrons in Korea. One was VMO-6, and they flew the copters like you see on MASH, the small Bell helicopters.
Sure.
HMR 161 was a transport squadron, and we flew large Sikorsky's, pilot, co-pilot, and crew chief.
Is that a single blade, single
Single rotor.
rotor?
And that's before gas turbine engines, and so we had very much underpowered gasoline engines. And we had 2 echelons. The rear echelon was between Seoul and Incheon. It was an old bombed-out Japanese factory where we had our hangars, and we did repair work. And we flew out of the 1st Marine Division CP up by the 38th parallel. And after 2 months there, I became a crew chief on a helicopter. And we flew every day. Our main thing was we supplied, we carried troops, and we carried evacuations out to the hospital ships in Incheon. They always had 3 hospital ships there, 2 in Incheon Harbor and 1 going between Incheon and Korea.
Sound like they kept you pretty busy.
Yes,
Flying every day, huh?
just about every day, yes, sir.
Oh, my. Did you get flight pay or something?
Oh, yes, definitely. Combat pay was $45 a month. Flight pay was $50 a month. So, of course, we went the extra $5 and took flight pay.
Well, flying every day that way, there was a certain amount of danger involved in that.
I know, but when you're 18, you don't think of that.
You don't think of that.
No.
You don't worry about it. do you?
Nope.
It's always somebody else.
You're right. Those gasoline engines, like you say, was underpowered.
Very much underpowered, very noisy, and they really vibrated.
Yeah, shake your teeth loose, wouldn't they? Yeah,
Yes, sir.
I've heard of that. Yeah. Okay. You got out before the situation ended over there in '53?
Yes. The armistice was signed in August of '53, and I came back to the States in June of '53, and I was assigned a helicopter squadron at Cherry Point, North Carolina, where I finished my career in the service. I would have re-enlisted, but the GI Bill for Korean vets was too good, so it was either the Marine Corps or go to college, and I picked getting my degree.
Sure. Okay. What did you find? Did you find any enjoyment in the job you did over there? Was there high times or good times?
Everything in the Marine Corps I loved. It was the greatest. Through boot camp, right on through everything.
You were
It's,
gung-ho then?
Very much so, yep, and still I am today.
Okay, that's a good testament.
Once a Marine, always a Marine.
Yes,
that's
definitely.
Good testament to Marine Corps.
And
I always appreciated the camaraderie between the Marines.
I'm also in the Leatherneck Coffee Club
Okay.
organization. Anything to do with Marine Corps, I like to be involved with.
Well,
Anything you really missed when you was over there?
Yeah, staying warm in the winter. We lived in tents, and it was very, very cold.
Yeah.
impossible to stay warm, wasn't it?
Yeah, we had the Mickey Mouse boots, the big,
Oh, you did?
and,
Well, that
big
was-
parkers and everything, but it was still cold.
Okay.
Mickey Mouse boots worked as long as you was moving.
Yes,
But if you had to be still for a while,
right.
Yeah.
they got cold.
Any time when it was really cold, when we came in for a flight, we could always go up to sick bay and get a little bottle of brandy, which was
That'll warm you up a little.
yes, that was always good.
What would you? How many months did you spend in Korea?
12 months.
Okay. That was for anybody in the combat zone.
Yes.
It's 12
Excuse
months,
me.
right? Yeah.
Well, it sounded like you had a good service over there, and
While I was there, I had 2 R&Rs where I got to go over and spend a week in Japan.
did you go back to Tokyo?
No, I spent my R&Rs in Osaka.
Osaka. Okay.
That's
In
clear
Kyoto.
southern tip, isn't it? Yeah.
All right. Well, when I was in Japan, I had the opportunity to go out to the airport on a bus, pick up some guys on R&R, and bring them back into the city to the quarters.
It wasn't at all rowdy, was they?
No, they were very well behaved because none of them wanted to get into any trouble whatsoever,
Oh, yeah.
because that would cancel their R&R and it'd be right back to the front.
It was quite a bit different
And,
than R&R for the current troops in Afghanistan. They get
They
to
come back
come
to the
home.
States. Yeah, they get to
But
come home.
no, we had 5 days, but the 5 days started after we got in Japan.
Sure.
So if you took it 3 days to make your way to Japan, but once we checked in at Japan, then we had 5 days.
Did you get new uniforms or anything when on R&R, or did you?
No,
Wear your regular
everything.
dress.
When we first got to Japan, the only thing I went into Korea with was a pack, my M1, my helmet, and all my dress uniforms and everything stayed in Japan.
Okay.
And we checked our sea bags out when we went on R&R.
Oh, okay. Now, see, I didn't know that. I always assumed they got new uniforms because they was
No,
always looked real good. And that when they
Marines
was
always look good.
simplified. But no, they do. You're right, they do.
After we get back to the States, as I said, I was in Cherry Point, North Carolina, and we worked with, that was HMR 262, that was with the 2nd Marine Air Wing, 2nd Marine Division, and I took 3 aircraft carrier trips on maneuvers down to the Caribbean, where we used to go down and they bombed the heck out of a little island called Viegas, and we landed troops there. And
Simulated warfare, in other words.
yes,
Yes.
and then on the way back there we stopped at St. Thomas in the Virgin Islands, where we had the weekend
Call?
off. Yes,
Right.
and so my full 3 years in Marine Corps was always doing something and found everything extremely interesting.
Well, it sounds like you had a busy time, and sounds like you enjoyed some of it. It was probably a learning experience for you.
Oh,
wasn't it?
definitely.
Did you feel like you went in as a boy and came out as a man?
Oh, yes. Well, I even came out maybe still a boy, but a little more
A little,
grown up.
wiser, a
Yeah.
little more mature, right?
Yes.
Yeah, I've talked to lots of veterans, and they all say the same thing, that you went in young and kind of naive about things, but when you come out, you was a little wiser about the ways of the world and how to take care of yourself and so forth. So not all service is bad memories. Lots of it really is been good for us.
I can't think of a bad memory at all I had while I was in the Corps.
Well, that's good, Hank. That's real good.
No, nothing difficult at all anywhere.
No. It was great.
Your service and my service was very close. I went in March of 51, and I got out in March of 53.
Uh-huh.
So we were in basically just about a month or so apart
Right.
in our service. But I, of course, was Army, and
Well, I went in February of 51.
February.
Yeah.
Okay, you went in a month ahead of me.
Yeah.
All right. So we all served in that time frame, right when the activity was going on.
Right.
I was in Korea, I believe. When did you leave in Korea? Leave Korea?
I left in June of 53.
Okay, well, I was there in February, or I got there in January of 53.
Okay, I got there in
Yeah.
June of 52.
Yeah. Okay.
And it was quite nippy when I got there in January.
You know, I was drafted in the Army myself, and I always appreciated Marine guys because they were volunteers. And I thought, well, these guys must know what it's all about to put themselves, and generally the Marines went in first, right?
That is usually,
I'm
yes.
talking about the combat troops. Generally the Marines go in first, and the Army generally follows along.
Yes.
And so I always appreciated the fact the Marines was out there as a buffer
Oh,
in front. And so don't think that there's any rivalry between services. There's not. We each, I think, whether you're Air Force, Marine, you know, Army or Navy or whatever, we each appreciate what the other group has done
oh,
and is
definitely,
doing.
yes, sir.
And we look at each other, and there's that feeling of kinship among us.
Mm-hmm.
Well, they're
And-
trained for different things.
Well,
I mean, like
yeah.
the Marines are trained to go in first, I guess.
Yeah, right up front.
Yep.
They live for that, and that's, I guess, that's okay with me.
Yeah.
But I had it relatively easy. I was in artillery, so I wasn't, you know, anywhere near the front lines. But I was in a defensive position on an air base, defending an air base with anti-aircraft, 90mm guns. So we didn't have any choppers at our base, maybe one or two rescue or something that way, and that was all. But flying off of carriers and everything, early on you mostly flew in those Hueys, was it?
No, they were, we were flying Sikorskis.
Sikorskis.
Yes.
Okay. All right. Those was what, two-man jobs?
No, pilot, co-pilot, crew chief, and we could carry about 5 fully loaded combat troops.
Well, that was later on, wasn't it, or was that
No.
right up front? That was early.
It was, yeah.
Well, that was big
The
chopper.
planes were designed to carry 10, but never had the power to get that many people off.
Did you fly a lot of troops into combat?
Not that many, no. It's we supplied them, and we did move them, but directly like they did in Vietnam and everything, no.
Yeah, you didn't drop them or anything?
No.
Okay.
The only helicopter we seen, that I seen over there was them little ones, you know, that carried
Hueys.
wounded back.
Two-person with the litters on the side?
Yeah, right.
Yeah, that
Yeah,
was
like on MASH?